Hi, my name is Tammy and welcome to College Credit Coach, where we are striving to help kids of any age earn college credits before ever taking a college course. So today I want to address three very basic questions. When, where, and how. What I mean by this is when should we start our kids taking CLEP and DSST tests? Where should we start, meaning like what test to take first, and how? How do we organize our homeschooling days to accommodate the CLEP and the DSST testing? Now, if you're new to this website, you may say, okay, well, I don't even know what CLEP and DSST are. I will put a link up here to one of the videos that explains a little bit more about what CLEP and DSST are. But basically, these are college testing programs. So you can study a subject, study it really well, take a test, and if you get a certain score on that test, then you can get college credit for that subject. So that's CLEP, College Level Exam Program, and DSST is also, those are two main programs for taking a test and earning college credit. So let's dive in and answer our first question, when? When should we have our kids start taking the DSST and the CLEP tests? So my first answer would be you can start at any age. Your CLEP and DSST scores are good for 20 years. So if you start your children at a young age, those scores are valid for 20 years. Now, I would tell you that my biggest suggestion to you would just be make sure that your child is mature enough to handle the studying and the stress of taking a test. We started our oldest, when we first found out about the CLEP and DSST programs, we started our oldest when he was in 7th grade. Then our second oldest, we started when she got into 6th grade. And our third oldest wanted to start when he was in 5th grade. I was a little hesitant to start him in 5th grade, but he was excited to do it. But I did see a more immaturity in him where he wasn't really excited to do like the vocab cards. But honestly, the testing did not stress them out at all. So it's kind of a give and take to what your child is able to do physically and mentally, and just really left up to you. I know there are some families that don't want their children to start younger than 7th grade, and that's up to you personally. Okay, so the second question, where? Where does a person start with the CLEP and the DSST testing? Now, I want to give you several different answers depending on the age of your kids and the opportunities for the transferring of the credits to your local college, like what your college will accept as CLEP and DSST credits. So my very first and favorite answer to where to start is to start with environmental science, the DSST test for environmental science. This is where we started with our 7th grader, and then our 6th grader, and then our 5th grader. The reason I hold this book up is because it's by Credits Before College, and this is a study guide specifically for preparing you to take the environmental science DSST and pass it. So when I found out about this study guide, I thought, okay, this is where I want to start, because then I can just take this study guide step by step, and we can do our, our preparations. I can learn how to take the test, what to review for the test, and all the things that are going to be needed for them to pass their environmental science DSST test. Now, this study guide does have an accompanying textbook, and I'll put all the links in the description box down below. But this is my absolute favorite place for kids to start for taking a CLEP or a DSST. The environmental science DSST has a lot of definitions in it. So it's kind of straightforward. It's not a lot of concepts, but a lot of definitions. So my kids learned how to write vocab cards, writing out the definition and things. And it was an easy one for them to start with, and for them, an easy topic for them to like, and they did really well on it. Okay, then my second suggestion of where to start would be to start with U.S. History 1 CLEP test. If you have a child who really loves to study history, it'd be just natural for them to be able to study history and love it, and take that CLEP test, pass it, get some college credits, and just get really excited about continuing to study and get more college credits. I will warn you, if you do take the U.S. History CLEP test first, you'll really want to study pre-colonial period and early colonization, because there's a lot of information during that era on the CLEP test. So just make sure you're real thorough in what you study for. I do have a U.S. History 1 CLEP video overview, and I'll put the link up here in the cards, where I discussed with my son, who had just taken his U.S. History 1 test, what was on the test, how he felt when he studied for it, he prepared for it, how he felt during the test, and it gives you just a great idea of the different things maybe that your kids would need to study for. And I'll put that link up here, and then you can get more information about the U.S. History CLEP 1 test. My third and final suggestion is to have your kids start just where they are. If your kids are a little bit further on in their high school career, maybe 9th or 10th grade, and they've already taken some of these subjects, but they haven't taken the CLEP test, I would start them where they are. So if you're starting, this year they're going to study like college composition or American literature, I would start them taking their CLEP test right where they are. And if that means even you have to do a little quick research to make sure the curriculum that you have is going to cover all the topics on the CLEP or the DSST test, I would do that. I would help them to really do well on their first test. And then once they've gotten that test and they've gotten those credits, go back to the previous subjects that they've already studied and maybe restudy them in 1 to 2 months, take their tests, and just really start excelling that way. So in my opinion, it's easier to start with subjects like environmental science and follow that up with an astronomy DSST test, or U.S. history, and I follow that up with government. Some of those tests can be really paired nicely together, American Lit and college composition, and then keep like biology and chemistry towards like later years, like your 9th and your 10th grade year, because those are a little bit longer to study for. They take more than 1 semester anyway for our family. Topics like psychology, ethics in America, humanities, I really like to put off till my kids are old enough and mature enough to handle those kind of topics, and they won't be easily swayed by them. So those are just my recommendation. Okay, and then third, how do we accommodate our homeschooling schedules for the CLEP and the DSST programs and testing? I have found that I really like to do what I call a modular homeschooling schedule. And by that I mean, I take my homeschool year, I divide it into 2 semesters. The first semester, my goal is for, each semester actually, my goal is for my kids to at least take 2 college CLEP tests or DSST tests, on average anyway. So we run our schedule as, in the first hour of every day, we do math. So everybody's doing math. I do math with the youngest, and then the other ones have their teaching textbooks on their computers, and they do their math. Then for the next 2 hours, we do 1 subject. And by that I mean it's usually a subject for CLEP or DSST. We break for lunch, and then in the afternoon, we have 2 more hours of study. Either we're studying that same subject that we did in the morning, or we're studying for a second subject of CLEP or DSST. And so by doing that modular type format, we really accomplish a lot. Usually by the end of the first semester, then my kids have 2 tests done. So if we're doing the modular format and we're doing 1 class 1 hour, or no, we're doing 1 class for the first 2 hours, and we're doing that same subject for the afternoon 2 hours, then I expect my kids to get done with their CLEP or the DSST test in about 1 to 2 months. But if we're doing it, if I have children that like to do 1 subject in the morning for the 2 hours and a different subject in the afternoon for those 2 hours, then we are usually taking the CLEP test or the DSST test towards the end of the semester, almost back to back. So we're always studying 1 to 2 subjects plus 1 hour of math a day. And then I also sprinkle in there like 30 minutes of music lessons, whether they're playing the piano or the violin. So that's basically it. Math, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and music sprinkled in there for everybody. I found that this really has worked the best for my family. When I tried to do, especially with my oldest, I tried to do the hourly, every hour change subjects, kind of like the public schools. I found my boys especially would just be getting into studying their subject and really getting deep into it. And then the hour would be up and they'd have to switch subjects, refocus their mind, get into everything else. And then they'd be studying for a few minutes and then, it's time to study, switch subjects. And so this way, with 2 hours of subject in the morning, 2 hours of studying a subject in the afternoon, they really are able to get into it and focus better. So my modular scheduling has really helped my family focus on studying things really well, 1 time, taking the test, passing the test, and then earning college credit and being done with that subject forever. Instead of like studying in elementary school, studying it again in junior high, studying a little bit more of it in high school, and studying a little bit more of it in college. We just study it one time, we study it really well, and we're done. So that's it. Those are my tips about when to start, where to start, and how to run your homeschooling daily schedule. I would love to hear from you in the comments if you've got any suggestions, if you've got any tips, if you've found things that work, that don't work. And I would love for you to like and subscribe to this channel, and may continue just to put out good content that will help you and your kids earn college credits before ever taking a college class. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.